Live from the Score Atlanta television studios in North Atlanta, this is Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of Georgia High School Sports Daily. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another great episode. Got a lot in store for you guys today. We're going to get into it, obviously, with Mantavius, LeBron, Presley, and all the great things he's accomplishing, obviously, in the classroom. Has over $1 million in scholarships, so we're going to talk to him. And we'll get into it with our baseball rankings as well. And then we'll obviously have Coach Johnny White of Douglas County on to see what's going on with the Tigers. And then we'll wrap up with Hayden's high school hits. All right, guys. So, Craig, obviously a big week for baseball. We're going to go through your rankings, but just what's the biggest matchup you think this upcoming week as this kind of the regular season winds down?
It's a great question. So there's a lot of big ones. I thought the biggest one last night was the doubleheader between Etowah and Cherokee. So the reason this was big, it wasn't for Etowah. Etowah's already gotten that top seed. But heading into that matchup, you had Etowah, Walton, and North Paulding all within one game. Etowah got the sweep. We'll get into it in the fast break headlines. So then that's going to push Cherokee down probably to the number 4 seed, but the issue is now Cherokee has a 3-game series against North Paulding. Walton already beat Cherokee 2-1. Now it's about North Paulding and Cherokee for that number 3 and 4. However, I think Cherokee has a little bit more breathing room with Walton, but it looks like Walton will benefit just from the Etowah sweep to get that number 2 seed. So that was a big deal, and it's a big deal because that region has to go up against Region 1, which is South Georgia. The difference between a number 2 seed and number 4 seed in that region is either hosting in the first round or going to 2-time defending state champion Lowndes.
Yeah, probably don't want to drive all the way down there for that, especially with that home atmosphere. We'll probably rather have a game here.
Yeah, so that was a huge one. There's some other big ones. I'm just we'll get into it big time with the rankings. I think one that's probably underrated is not necessarily top 10, but it has that feel this year. It's going to be Parkview and Brookwood. Yeah. You have a new coaching staff with Parkview. They've been really red hot. They've been an opportunity to clinch up this region, but then Brookwood's a very solid team too. I think they're sitting probably about 21-8 this season. I mean, this is going to be an even matchup. Brookwood's a very talented team. So that's another big series and just the overall rivalry. That will be tonight, Game 1, and then you got the 17th to conclude that series.
There you have it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into our fast break headlines for today. We'll start with GAC with Amari Hughes. He committed to Valdosta State, the 6'3", 240-pound defensive end. He played both offensive and defensive line for the Spartans. He was the first-team All-Region selection for Region 6-3A. At offensive line as a senior, in addition to making 26 tackles with 2.5 sacks on defense. Here is his post, 1,000% committed. No handouts, just hard work, consistency, and belief and faith. Titletown, here we go. Obviously a great job for him. Valdosta is one of the top teams in Division II, a perennial team that always makes the national championship. So shout out to them, a really good team to go get and developed.
Yep, good player, plays both sides of the football. And I really think this is the year for GAC to get back on track. I think they've had something like 4 or 5 straight first-round exits. They still have been making the playoffs, but they're very inconsistent. You saw it this past year with teams like, I don't think it was North Hall, but I think this was like the most losses GAC's ever had to Hall County teams, which are usually in their region based off location. I think GAC is a top 10 team in that Class A through 3A private this year, but man, they have to make a big push. We saw how good they were in Class 5A a few years ago. They should be able to take advantage of this. They got a ton of talent this year, but I think it's going to be about them starting the season fast because they've had highs and lows in the season, but to really get back to form, they've got to start the season with energy, get the hype going, and then continue building.
100% agree with you there. All right, let's go to headline 2. Big news out of Benedictine. 4-star wide receiver Bubba Frazier committed to Notre Dame via a post from Hayes Foster on 3 recruits. Says, all glory to God, time to prove myself again. And then he obviously quote tweeted and said, I'm home. A phenomenal receiver for the Benedictine Cadets. Had over 600 yards receiving this past year and I think close to 10 touchdowns. So outstanding for them. Obviously his quarterback committed not too long ago as well, Stephen Cannon. So Benedictine starting to go ahead and commit to these schools and get ready to go before the season starts.
Yeah, and he had one of the best just tribute videos, I guess, or commitment videos, announcement videos I've seen. So we're in this era now where the current rising seniors, these guys have been with personal trainers now for the past, 10 years, decade?
Yep.
So he has all this footage of him when he was in elementary school just doing these ladder drills. You saw the development year by year, and then once you get to Friday nights, he has this ability with his footwork as a receiver. He understands the angles. And so to me, he's that guy where he can see where the safety is, he can see where the corner is, he can hit that space, and then with that first step off the catch and the angle, he turns it into home run plays. He's so comfortable with that footwork that he's been just drilling in year after year. I think he's very technical and just isn't going to make mistakes. When you want a receiver that has that perfect timing with your quarterback, I think he has it, and it comes from just how much work he's put in.
100%. I mean, when you were practicing for that long, and at that point it just becomes, secondhand. It comes easy, and then obviously you see it on the football field, practically unguardable.
Yeah, and when you look at this, I mean, I encourage you to go to it. You'll see when he's like 7, 8 years old, the footwork's already there. So, I mean, he already was killing the ladder drills, doing very complex high school, college level drills then, and then just all the repetitions over the year. I mean, he could be a receiver coach when he gets done playing. I think he's very impressive, and I'm just happy we got to see it because a lot of players, in the past, we didn't have footage of us doing drills, so you can really see the progression. It was very special, so big shout out to him. And Benedictine is going to be the real deal this year.
Yes, they are. They're a team to watch.
All right, headline number 3. So we talked about baseball with that Lowndes and the potential matchup with Region 5, but this is how Lowndes did against Valdosta this past week. Lowndes closes out the Wintersville series with back-to-back victories. The Vikings ended their region series against Valdosta Friday night on a high note, claiming both games of a doubleheader at home to sweep the Wildcats, with Garrett Moon throwing a no-hitter in the second game. In Game 1, Lowndes won 9-4. Game 1 saw early fireworks from Valdosta as the Wildcats actually took a 3-0 lead in the first inning, stringing together hits, walks, and a pair of doubles to chase Lowndes starter Heath Davis out before he could record an out. Dylan Inman took over and shifted the momentum. The reliever threw 5 steady innings, allowing just 1 earned run, walking 2 and striking out 8. His presence on the mound calmed the Vikings while their offense prepared to respond full force. Coleman Lewis crushed a solo home run in the bottom of the first to spark the comeback and went on to lead the team with 4 total base hits. Doubles from Dawkins, Parker, Matthew Kerrigan, Tyler Parker, and Noah Berman fueled a 4-run second inning. So that was Game 1 of the doubleheader, and then you had the no-hitter. So that one is important because you're going to have this matchup between, in my opinion, 2-time defending state champs and then Region 5, which could potentially have 4 ranked teams in it. You see Etowah and Cherokee closed out their 3-game series on Monday. Cherokee will now face North Paulding next. Valdosta, their newspaper is already talking about what's going to happen in this Cherokee North Paulding series because it'll be huge for who goes up there. With the Lowndes Vikings assured of their seed going into the 6A tournament, they can start paying more attention to the goings-on in Region 5, who they will be matched up in the first round. Etowah, the defending Class 6A state champs, and then Lowndes, the defending Class 7A champs, will be in these 2 regions. The Eagles were 15-1 in their region, 23-2 now, 25-2 after the sweep last night. Walton, North Paulding, and Cherokee are assured of state tournament berths. Cherokee has a 9 winning region wins compared to Marietta's 6. But just to sum up on that, I think it's going to be a great overall matchup. Just see where all these teams stand from Region 5, in my opinion. But you also have one more big series. That's going to be Walton against Marietta to close out the region schedule. Walton has bounced back pretty solidly, getting the win over Brookwood, but I just feel like they got to sweep Marietta and rebuild that momentum.
100%. All right, I'll take headline 4. Etowah and Cherokee face off in Monday doubleheader. Craig, you obviously talked about this, early on. Valdosta newspaper is already talking about Region 1 versus Region 5 first-round pairing. Meanwhile, in Region 5, Lowndes and Valdosta, you obviously talked about that matchup. Etowah is defending Class 6A champion to Lowndes, who was defending Class 7A as clinched Region 5. The Eagles were 15-1 in region with 23-2 record as of Thursday. They had 2 region games remaining, a Friday doubleheader at Cherokee. The Vikings would not see Etowah, of course, until much deeper into the playoffs. Number 4 seed of Region 5 will be visiting, and that team is still up in the air. Walton, North Paulding, and Cherokee are assured of state tournament berths. Cherokee has 9 regional wins to Marietta's 6, which you talked about, Craig, but Cherokee won the regular season series even if Marietta sweeps Walton next week.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned it yet. Tift County, I mean, number 2 seed out of this Lowndes region, they are super talented. They are in my top 10, so that is another exciting aspect. Tift County is number 2 seed, will host, and they're going to be able to match up potentially against a North Paulding or Walton. Will be a huge matchup. All right, headline 5, Northside Warner Robins girls, the veterans boys clinched the Houston County track state titles. This was last Thursday. The girls' results, you see Northside Warner Robins got 166 points, but it was very, very close. Houston County with 164, Warner Robins 144, Perry fifth place, 68, and then Northside Warner Robins 99.50. On the boys' side, veterans took first, another close one, 162 points. Houston County 161, Warner Robins 132, Perry 119.50, and Northside Warner Robins 99.50. The one thing I'll say about that, we've seen a lot of these county championships. That's about as tight of a race I've seen. Just goes to show how evenly matched those Middle Georgia programs are.
100%, guys. All right, we're going to have an exclusive interview coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere. Mantavius LeBron Presley, we'll talk to him via Zoom to get the latest of everything he's working on and the phenomenal accomplishment he's had in high school.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career.
All right, welcome to Georgia High School Sports Daily. We have a special guest in the building, Mantavius LeBron Presley. I wanted to just ask, man, what should I call you? Should I call you LeBron? Should I call you Mantavius?
LeBron is good. Okay,
I got you, man. So we're here with LeBron, man. He's had some big-time accomplishments. Before we bring him on to talk to him, I just want to talk about that a little bit. Over $1 million in scholarships, man, accepted to 58 institutions, man. So how do you do it? You have such an extensive background. I mean, you're the vice president for the veteran business leaders. I mean, you know, you're a National Honor Society. You know, you have over 1,100 hours of community services. How do you balance everything and be a student at the same time and a kid, too?
I just take it one day at a time, and when I know that there's something that I want to do, I put my mind to it, and I do it, and I make time for it.
100%. I got to ask your advice. I remember when I was coming from high school, I had like a 3.5. I had hope. But, man, it's difficult to get scholarships. So just what's the method to the madness if you had to tell others that are watching? What did you do in order to be able to land this many scholarships, just offers and things like that?
I talked to my faculty and the staff at my school. I talked to my principal. I talked to my counselors. I talked to my assistant principals. I talked to my teachers. I talked to everybody imaginable that I could to get help from them, and they helped me with any aspect that I needed. I got on Google and I went in the search engine and looked up different scholarships, like scholarships for my major, scholarships for being right-handed. It's got all kind of different stuff. So I just looked up stuff and I knew what I wanted. So I asked people questions. I looked for myself, and then they also helped me.
100%. And then obviously, I know you're still going through the selection process, but in terms of you and where you want to go, what are some key parameters and things that you're looking for from a college in order to just better yourself? What are some key kind of principles that you're kind of upholding to?
I'm looking for a good program for my major, but I'm also looking for somewhere where I feel like I am valued as a person, but also as an individual. And then I'm also looking for a family, like kind of like a family-oriented campus. And then two, the people that are there also play a big role in that, such as the people around me, the professors, and things of that nature.
And then LeBron, I want to ask you just about your mother and how she's helped throughout your academic career. I mean, how do you even calculate all these scholarship opportunities, and what does she think of it all?
So how I calculate it is I use an Excel spreadsheet. I use an Excel spreadsheet to just about everything, but for this one, for this certain thing, it really helped me a lot, and it helped me, keep track of everywhere that I got accepted to, but also keep track of the amount of money that I have, and also what I have left over. And then my mom, she is so proud. She cries all the time, but she is my biggest supporter. She is always there when I need her, and she's always every day she asks me, well, what do you have today? Or is there anything that I need to know about today? So she's always there for me when I need her, and she's very proud.
I'm sure she was proud after the first one came in, but I mean, what did she think when they kept coming in and to be able to show her over $1 million of scholarships?
When they kept coming in, she was so surprised because she was like, "How many did you apply to? And when is this one going to come in? And when is this one going to come in?" Because every time I applied for a new one, I told her, "Hey, I'm applying for this. This one's, I got accepted here, but I'm also going to apply here because of this reason and this reason." And she was like, "When will you know?" And I did not know you applied to this many. And when are you? And how do you feel? And every time I just told her, I feel overjoyed because I had no idea. And now that everything has come in and it has, been a whirlwind of everything, she's just so proud of me, and she's still crying. Every time I get something new, she's crying and crying and crying, and she's so proud.
Yeah, and then, I mean, from here, just it seems like such a tough decision now for you, but you do have a plan on what you want to do. That you talked about the major. I think you want to go into anesthesiology, med school. How tough is this decision going to be for you, knowing that, I mean, you could go far from home, stay close. There's so many great colleges in Atlanta. I mean, all over the place.
The first thing is, I want a good program for me, but also I'm an only child. So I also, have to make sure I make the best decision for me, but also for my mother. And then I have to narrow it down to what I think would be best for me, because for these next 4 years, I'm going to have to, enjoy my time and, make the best out of everything.
And talk a little bit about Douglas County, just the student body there, some classmates that you've had that have just helped you just enjoy the learning experience and just be social at the school and just be involved. You seem like a type of person that isn't going to regret their high school days because you've been involved in so much.
I definitely don't regret any of the choices that I've made here. We have some of the best, I feel like we have some of the best staff and some of the best people that work here, that they are all about the students and the people that they know. We have some of the best administration, some of the best teachers, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I have met some lifelong friends here through the things that I've done, such as being cheer manager, doing sports medicine my first 3 years of high school, being the president of FBLA, being the vice president of my senior class, and just also being the vice president of SGA and helping along with SGA and homecoming and helping with prom and helping with all the different things that we have that are that make our school such an amazing place to be. I've had the opportunity to be there and organize some of those things and see what happens. And see, the things that happen It just brings something out of me that just allows me to meet people and see new people and learn new things from the people that I'm able to meet. Um, and then also, the people that I've met, I've met so many different people along the way, but just about everybody that I've met has made an impact in my life in some way.
And then for you, LeBron, how many schools have you just been able to visit so far?
I've been able to visit about 30 or so of the schools out of the 60. Out of the 64 that I've been accepted to, I've been able to see about 30 of the schools. I actually just came back from Louisiana, and while I was there, I toured LSU and Xavier.
Yeah, and then just real quick, what were just your thoughts on those campuses when you went to the recent ones?
They have some beautiful and amazing campuses. LSU's campus is huge. It took me, I know, 3.5 hours to walk, almost not even all of the campus. So it's huge, but it's beautiful. And Xavier has so many great things to offer, such as their school is not that big, but it's like one big family there. So everybody knows everybody. So it's like the best place to be. It kind of reminds me of my high school. We have a big campus, but everybody kind of knows everybody. So it's just one big happy family there at Xavier, and they have so many great things to offer with their programs and their STEM majors and all the things.
For sure. And then I want to just ask you a little about your community service efforts. Obviously, over 1,100 hours of community service. Just talk about that, what that means to you, just to give back to your community and just help others out.
One thing that I always wanted to do that I knew that I wanted to do from being just like a kid was helping people. My one goal in life was to always help people. So when I was accumulating these hours, I honestly didn't even know that I would come up with these many. I mean, with this many, I was just helping others, like with the blood drives. We have my school. We have 3 blood drives a year. This year we had the opportunity to have 4, but the blood drives are just one way that I like to give back. Overseeing the blood drives and volunteering with them, and being there from start to finish has just been a great thing for me to do. Which is one way that I've given back. I've met so many amazing people from the Red Cross, and I've just met people along the way that want to come in and help others just like I do. So when I was doing these things, I was just giving some of my time to help a cause that I felt like was important, no matter if it was doing community service or doing the blood drives or even helping with some of the special needs students here at my school.
For sure. Well, LeBron, that's all the time that we have for today. I want to say thank you so much for coming on. We'd love to have you in studio. We potentially make your announcement. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, there he goes, guys. LeBron, appreciate him coming on. A great, accomplished student here, obviously, in the state of Georgia at Douglas County. We'll have his head coach on, Johnny White, here in segment 4. But coming up after the break, we'll get into it with our baseball rankings, so don't go anywhere. All right.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
High School Sports Daily. It's time to get into our baseball rankings. It is the final week of the regular season, so a lot of big-time matchups. They have obviously altered the rankings a little bit. Craig has had some movements in all of them, so we'll go ahead and talk about it. Let's go ahead and roll, Craig. 6A, still at the top, you got Etowah, North Gwinnett, Buford, Lowndes, Parkview, Walton, North Paulding, East Coweta, Tift County, and Grayson. What's going on here, Craig?
So number one, Etowah, we talked about them sweeping Cherokee. They won game one last week. They took the doubleheader last night. Now they've already clinched that number one seed. They will have 2 more games left before the playoffs start. It will be against BT. That'll be a big matchup. And then Hillgrove. So 2, in my opinion, quality opponents just to get them ready for the playoffs. But it's already been mission accomplished. North Gwinnett, number 2. This is the 3rd week in a row. I think they've been at number 2. They're 24-2 overall. I think they split their series earlier with Buford. They weren't punished there. And then they will have 2 games against Peachtree Ridge and 1 against Paideia to close it out. Buford, they stay at number 3. They had the big sweep over Grayson over spring break. That was a solid two-game series for Buford. They look talented enough to make a big-time run, potentially match up with an Etowah in the finals. You got Parkview still at number 5. We talked about their matchup coming up against Brookwood. Lowndes, they already wrapped up the number 1 seed. And then you got North Paulding is going to play Cherokee. East Coweta's already clinched their region, the region with Carrollton and Douglas County. And then this week, Tift County moved up to number 9. Grayson fell to number 10. Grayson's big series this week is going to be against Archer. They already took game 1. They'll have 2 more games, and that will potentially clinch Grayson, who made it all the way to the finals last year with home field in the playoffs.
There you have it. All right, let's go to 5A at the top. Obviously, Houston County leads there. Then you have Pope, followed by Loganville, Dunwoody, and Villa Rica. Noonan's been impressive at number 6. They've won 12 straight games since his 4-game losing streak earlier in the year, so they've been impressive. And the top matchup this week, Craig, between obviously Villa Rica and South Paulding.
Yeah, I mean, that one will be huge. And the Villa Rica South Paulding, that'll be for the region title. And obviously, it's a top 10 matchup also. Class 5A, still feel like at the top, you got to look at all 3 of these teams, Houston County, Pope, and Loganville. Houston County, they've dominated a very tough region, 14-1. They just swept Lee County to close out that top seed. They've been phenomenal. They'll play Luella and Richmond Hill before the playoffs. You got Pope at 24-3 now. They've won 18 straight. They will close out their season with Lassiter, and then Loganville. They're 21-5 overall. They have Clark Central for 2 games and then a Cherokee Bluff matchup to get them ready. You got Effingham County 23-5. They had 2 losses this last week to Harlem, who still is undefeated, that number 1 team in Class 3A, but very close games, 4-3, 5-4. So they weren't punished for that. You got Woodward Academy, Lee County still rounding out that top 10. But to me, I feel like those top 3 teams in 5A look as tough as any team in the state.
For sure. All right, let's go to 4A. Most movement seen this week, obviously, was Marist. Blessed Trinity Allatoona has been looking good so far. And obviously a top matchup this week between Ware County and Wayne County.
Yeah, Marist just had a phenomenal week. They moved up, not just in my poll, I think Baseball Report also moved them up significantly, which is huge. You don't see teams make that 4-position jump late in the season, but they had 3 top 10 wins in a row. They've been playing phenomenal, really have come out of nowhere to challenge the Allatoonas and BTs. North Oconee dropped 1 spot after the Marist move up, and then the biggest series to me I feel like is going to be Ware County and Wayne County. Both have been on a tremendous hot streak. I think at number 10 Cartersville, they've won something like 12 straight games now after uncharacteristically maybe a slow start to the season. They really turned it on. And then Stars Mill is a team I feel like can make a run, upset a lot of teams. And then Ola, I feel like they've only had like 2 or 3 losses all season long. They look phenomenal. And when we talked to Allatoona, we talked to Cartersville about Class 4A, Ola was always mentioned as a premier team that they know can make a run.
There you go. All right, let's go to 3A. At the top is Harlem, followed by North Hall, Pickens, Peach County, Shroop, Oconee County, and Cherokee Bluff. Craig, what more can you say about Peach County this season?
Yeah, Peach County 26-2. They've won 21 straight games. So they've been phenomenal. To me, though, Harlem out of Augusta, they've just. I mean, in the last 4 years, I feel like they haven't even lost 4 games. They've been so good at just winning these close games. They challenge themselves. They don't play a cupcake schedule. They've already wrapped it up, but they will play 2 games against Fox Creek out of South Carolina. That's an Augusta area school. And then they got a matchup with Heswaba. And then North Hall at number 2. They had a big series win against Dawson County, taking 2 of 3 is a big-time matchup for them. Pickens, they've won 10 straight. They will, I believe, close out their series with GAC. This will be a region matchup, but GAC, of course, is going to split off into the private. But that'll be interesting just to see how those 2 teams stack up. You got Troop at number 5. They've won 14 straight games. Oconee County is also red hot, 21-6. They're going to win their region. They've won 6 straight games. And then you got teams like Cherokee Bluff, LaGrange, Whitewater, and Dawson County rounding out that top 10.
All right, let's go to 2A. At the top, you got Morgan County, followed by Rockmart, Franklin County, Pierce County, and Cook. Cook's been very impressive this season, followed by Redan, Ringo, Appleton County, Stevens County, and East Jackson.
Yep, this is the classification that's wide open and not a lot of defending champs or even teams that have won in the last decade. Morgan County has been number 1 for the entire series or season. I really like Rockmart, though, and then to me, Franklin County, that's a team that beat Prince Avenue Christian head-to-head, so watch out for them. That is a very tough nationally ranked team that they were able to beat not too long ago, so I feel like that has really put them on the map as a team that can take this classification.
For sure. All right, let's go to Class C Division 1. Gordon Lee, Jeff Davis, Model, Social Circle, and Banks County, Worth County, Pepperell, Swainsboro, Urban County, and Washington County. Yeah,
I really like Gordon Lee and Jeff Davis. They're battle-tested. Model was the first team in the entire state, regardless of classification, to get to that 20-win mark this season. They lost 1 game. That's it. They've been phenomenal. Social Circle, one of the highest-scoring teams in the classification. Pepperell has been playing outstanding also, beating all the Rome area teams. You got Swainsboro also rising in the poll from number 9, Elbert County, and then Washington County rounding out this classification. This one will be one that is seeded based off the power rating system, but this undefeated Gordon Lee team has certainly earned number 1.
There you go. All right, let's go to Class C Division 2, Lanier County, followed by Baconton Charter, Charleston County, Irwin County, and Bowden.
Yes, this classification, I feel like Baconton Charter could be that number 1 team, but I've given Lanier County the benefit of the doubt because they have the opportunity to win the deepest region, in my opinion. You got Lanier County at 1, Charlton County at 3, Irwin County at 4. All of them are in the same region. Lanier County was able to get the series wins over all of them. They all have lost to each other once, but these are 3-game series. So now you're going to have Charlton County and Irwin County battling for that number 2 seed out of that region, and this classification does not do the power rating system, so that will be huge to get the home field. ECI has been on a really hot streak lately, but so has Bowden. Bowden's one more out of classification matchup because they have such a small 4-team region, so they've been just winning and really challenging themselves more than a lot of teams in this classification the last month. Getting some big victories. I also like Wilcox County. This is the 3rd week they've been in the rankings. They started at number 10. They move up to number 8 this week.
All right, and then let's go to Class A 3A private. Probably one of the more interesting ones, Prince Avenue Christian, Lovett, Athens Christian, Holy Innocents, and North Cobb Christian.
Yeah, this has been the hardest one for me to lock down. I really like Lovett this year. They've had some big victories, but recently they've had a couple lopsided losses. Not too much area for concern. Wesleyan's been red hot. Savannah Christian, also a top 10 team. And then Mount Perrin had some big wins recently. I feel like even at number 10, the way things have panned out, that's a team that can certainly make a run for a state title. It will be really interesting to see how this bracket plays out. But obviously, Prince Ave, the 2-time defending state champs, will be the favorite in that class.
All right, there you have it, guys. Those are the baseball rankings. Coming up after the break, we will talk to head coach Johnny White of Douglas County. So don't miss it. Come right back here on the Peachtree Sports Network.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. Yes, you can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. So we're super excited to have on probably one of the better coaches in the state, Coach Johnny White of D.C. What's going on, Coach?
How y'all doing? I'm doing well. Everything's going okay.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, excited to have you on, Coach. So another great year for your team last year. I know you dealt with the injury bug a lot, Coach, but you got them to the semifinals. So just kind of talk about what's kind of been your message. I know it's just workouts, but, spring's 2 weeks away. What's kind of been your message to this group this year?
Find a way to get the game 15. That's really been it. Take it week by week. Keep building on the success that we have. And, for a lot of them, that first 13-1 season in 23, most of that team was sophomores. And now that team last year was juniors. So now this is their last ride. So we're hoping that we can find a way. We're going to take it week by week, but we can find a way. Same mantra as last year. Start at the Benz and the Corker Kell and find a way to finish in the Benz in the state championship.
100%, Coach. And just speaking of really quick, just want to ask you, just what's your thoughts on the matchup? I think it's going to be electric. You guys are the nightcap. You're playing a really good North Gwinnett team. Made the quarterfinals last year. Have a great coach, Eric Godfrey. Just what's your early assessment and thoughts on that matchup?
I have nothing but respect for Coach Godfrey. He actually played college ball with a couple of good friends of mine that were on my staff. So when we were going through growing pains here in Douglas County, I spent a lot of time going to meet with him when he was at Parkview. So I've seen the success he's had there. I've seen the success he has at North Gwinnett. He's a heck of a coach. So, and he's got a heck of a staff and he's got a great football team. So we're going to have our hands full.
For sure, Coach. And then just how does your spring schedule look like, coming up, Coach? When do you guys begin and what does that kind of look like this year?
We're going to start on the 30th of April, just one day, just trying to get solidified, just trying to let young guys know how we do things here in Douglas County. And then we'll go 2 days, then we'll go 4 days that second week. And then that third week, just a Monday, walk through on Tuesday. And then we play Wednesday at Georgia State against Carver, Columbus, and a little jamboree, Carver, Columbus, and Creekside. Us three will be playing together.
Speaking of, Coach, can you just talk about that a little bit for our toss at the crowd? I just want to ask you about that jamboree. I think it's a great idea. The day before, it's going to be Gainesville in there. I believe North Gwinnett as well. But just talk about the idea of the jamboree. And I think it's great for Georgia State because they get to see all you guys as great players right there on their campus. Just talk about how that all came together.
I mean, the coaches asked me about it, and I was definitely all in. I appreciate what Coach McGee does over there at Georgia State. So anything we can do on their campus to let our kids get eyeballed by college coaches is going to be great. And then when you're playing against other good teams, that means there's going to be more coaches out there to try to see you. So we're excited. We got asked to play, and it's a good situation. So it's really 2 or 3 30-minute games. Each team gets one timeout. So it's just quick games. So we'll open up against Carver, Columbus, and then we'll be off a game, Carver, Columbus, and then I'll play Creekside, and then we'll play Creekside for 30 minutes after that.
And
so I'm excited.
Coach White, you're talking about getting to game 15. I want to ask you about last year, though, when you were dealing with those injuries. You guys had that great win against West Forsyth in the playoffs. You guys played Grayson toe-to-toe the entire time. It seems like you were very proud just with the overall effort at the end of the season. Did that run last year, just when you guys were dealing with that adversity, do you think that showed you that these guys do have what it takes to make it to that game 15?
I mean, I think it does. I think a lot of that's on me as well. I think I got to do a better job of getting these guys mentally prepared. I think I got to do a better job of getting the next man up. I think a lot of times when you rely on very good football players and they go down, everything goes down with them. Well, unfortunately, last 2 years, both games, we lost our quarterbacks in both years, but we just got to keep fighting and got to get that next guy ready to play. And, we had James Johnson, who's a heck of an athlete, who's at Southern Cal right now, who came in and did a great job for us playing quarterback against Grayson. But I think we lost a lot of his special ability by not playing him on defense during that game. And I think that's one mistake that I definitely blame myself on, by not keeping him on the field on both sides in that Grayson game. But we lost to a great Grayson football team now. Of course, they're the state champs for a reason. So, and I know a lot of the coaches over there, they do an excellent job.
Absolutely. And then within your team, you guys have so many star players, but I feel like you guys are that blue-collar attitude team. You guys just put the work in. But how have you guys been able to manage all these star players? They all have their own things going on with their recruitment, but then at the end of the day, they're still buying in. So what about the Douglas County program has all these talented players, but also just gets them to buy in?
I think that's the key with everything we try to do here. They all have to buy in. I met with the seniors yesterday, and I just asked them, is there anything that you are wanting that you haven't gotten yet? And a lot of them said yes. And so I asked what it was, and they said they want to finish game 15. So, with the stars and the athletes, we just try to do what's best by them and do what's best for our program. But they all understand that we're definitely program first here. There aren't any names on the back of our jerseys, and we do that for a reason. The only name I care about is the name on the front of it, and that's the Tiger logo. It does say Douglas County, either one of those. So I think they bought in because they care for each other. That's one thing I can definitely say about this group of young men. They really, truly care about each other, and I think the harder they're willing to play for each other, the better that we'll be as a team.
And you're talking about this senior class, just the success they had when they were sophomores, juniors. I feel like your Douglas County teams have had some unbelievable defenses. Where do you think this year's defense is going to stack up? How excited are you for who's leading this group?
It's a lot of pieces that are leading it, but it's some young guys that have to step up as well. With Jordan Carter and Jamal Owens, and we got some guys, Stephen Jones, who was that linebacker. So we got some guys, Solomon Fabian, all guys that played here. Of course, with Aaron Gregory on the back end, and some pieces have come in. But at the same time, they gotta be full speed, attitude. They got to get to the football. Mistakes can be made, but mistakes can be covered up if everybody's getting to the football. So I think this defensive team can be very special. It's going to be some young guys that are going to have to take up some space as well, but I'm excited to see how that looks in the spring.
And then, Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about just your quarterback situation. I know obviously you got Mike Johnson coming in. He's phenomenal, but he's going to have great receivers to throw the ball to, right? Not just Aaron Gregory and Devin Carter, but I heard you got some youngins that could play high end too. Adam Carter, so many more. Just talk a little bit about that.
Well, Adam Carter is the big one. Adam Carter was coming in this time last year. Adam Carter had 25 offers. He's a bigger version of the other two. He's 6'3.5", 6'4". He's 190 pounds, and he's a sub-22 200 guy. And we lost him to a freak injury, not touched. Did a lot of damage to his knee, but all the surgeries are done, and we're probably going to have him right when we start the season. So people haven't seen him since his sophomore year, so that's going to be real big for us. Dre Reading, also a slot receiver, and we got some other pieces coming. There's a couple of ninth graders that are going to break the depth chart, we think, so as well. So we're just waiting to see that during the spring.
And then just real quick, Coach, just thoughts on your quarterback.
I can't wait to see him live. I can't wait to see him, live in color with us. So I've seen his film. I know he's very fast. He's accurate. Just got to get it acclimated to what we do offensively. Make sure he's reading the same thing and seeing the same things that our coordinators are seeing. And if that's the case, then we're expecting big things from him.
And then, just Coach, your thoughts on your running backs this year. I know you had Zamarcus Lindley, who did a really great job this past year. Will you have a lot of young guys that will help with depth there? How does that position kind of look for you this season?
I mean, it looks very similar. You know, his sophomore year, we basically split time with him and Rakeem Kelly. And what happened last year is that when we lost Adam, we took Rakeem Kelly, who really took team first. He's an unbelievable running back. He has like 6 or 7 offers as well, but we moved him to slot. So this year, coming back for a senior year, we're going to go back to playing them two together a lot. Like we're in a one-back set, we can put Rakeem at the slot, but if we're in the two-back set, then they'll be back there together. So I'm really happy with that. So I think now we got to develop a couple of young guys to be that next guy up when those two guys leave us after this year.
For sure. Well, Coach White, I want to say thanks so much for coming on, talking about your great Douglas County program. Can't wait to see you guys in action, obviously, in the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic and all season long.
All right, thank you. Thank God, and just thank y'all for having us.
Yes, sir. Anytime, Coach. All right, guys, there goes Coach Johnny White. Coming up after the break, we will talk to Hayden for his high school hits in the recent region he just outlined in his Class 2A blog. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Day. We now have on Hayden Gilbert from our Score Atlanta staff, talk just a little about what he's working on. But I just want to get your quick reaction before we get into your great soccer blog that you had highlighting Region 2 2A. Just your thoughts on just Douglas County as a football team and some of the things Coach White had to say.
I mean, when you look at Douglas County as a football team, I mean, they're 2 years removed from a semifinals appearance. Last year they had a really good season, played Grayson probably tougher than anybody else in the playoffs. when you really look at that Douglas County team, wide receiver depth is unquestionable. They have a new quarterback that's really good, just transferring from Dutchtown. There's some questions on the defensive side of the ball, I think, but when you really look at them as a whole, they're as good as any team in 6A and should be at least a top 3 or 4 team in 6A.
Yeah, for me, it's that matchup against North Gwinnett. North Gwinnett, to me, their strength is on the defensive line. They'll have Jake Godfrey back. They'll lose a couple pieces, but they are so disruptive. So Douglas County, they are a very balanced team, but they also have this ability to get the ball out quickly to the receivers in space. North Gwinnett, they don't give you a lot of time, but if that offensive line can handle business week 1, I feel like they can win that matchup. And then when you look at the rest of 6A, who are the biggest challengers? You'll have the South Georgia teams, Lowndes, Valdosta, Colquitt County, Richmond Hill. But then I feel like when you look across 6A, Douglas County, I think they have an opportunity to be better than Carrollton this year and win the region, get home field. Obviously, Grayson will be back, but this is a top 3, top 2 team in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think you guys are spot on. I'm curious to see kind of how the offense looks this year. I know they ran it a lot where it's more balanced attack. They put it in the air a little bit more with the outstanding receivers. Obviously, talked about Dedrick Redding, Adam Carter coming back from the injury, Devin Carter, obviously four-star prospect committed to Auburn, and obviously you got Aaron Gregory. So it's going to be intriguing to see kind of how the offense looks this year with a new quarterback at the helm. But I feel like they have pretty much every piece. To your point, Hayden, how will they look defensively? Have a really strong back end with Jamar Owens, who's obviously back there manning that, along with the Aaron Gregory. But how will they look at linebacker this year? I think it's a big question.
Yeah, and we saw it actually against that West Forsyth game where at the end of the game they really couldn't get off the field. West Forsyth was just running the ball. So that was an area where I still think they won that game, and that probably gave something Coach White can look at on a potential vulnerability.
For sure. All right, guys, let's transition to soccer. Region 2, 2A. Hayden, you had a great article, obviously, on that. You mentioned Appleton County, you mentioned Pierce County, Chris County, and you said this could be one of the better regions to watch in the soccer playoffs because how deep it is, and any of those teams can make a run, obviously, to the state championship. Talk a little bit more about that.
So when you look at this region, you look at Tattnall County, Appleton County, Pierce County, and Chris County. All 4 of those teams are really good teams. All 4 of them were ranked in our boys' rankings last week. When you look at especially teams like Tattnall County and Chris County who have really come on strong this second half of the season. Tattnall County, I believe, started off 1-3 and has not lost a game since. 2 of those losses were to Pierce County and Crisp County, but they came back. They played in the region tournament, beat the team that was expected to win in Appleton County, then beat Crisp County to get that revenge game. So you look at them, and they're a really good team. But then you look at Appleton County. They dominated the schedule for most of the season. They're a really good soccer team, and they should be able to make a deep run and maybe even compete for a state title. The other 2, Pierce County and Crisp County's won 6 straight, I believe, or besides their loss to Tattnall County. Mm-hmm. When you look at that Crisp County team, they are really talented and can beat anybody. And if they can string together 3 or 4 wins, they may have a chance at a state title. And then you have Pierce County, who has struggled at times, but still has showed the ability to beat anybody, including which is shown by that win over Tattnall County.
I have a quick question. So basically all these teams are in the same region. They've been able to avenge losses, but out of all of them, which one do you think has been playing the hottest right now?
So right now the hottest is by far Tattnall County. When you look at Tattnall County, they had that slow start, and they haven't lost since the first 4 games. They've beaten everyone in the region. They're the only team that's beaten everyone in the region. So when you look at them, at this point, they are the front runner. They're going to be the top seed out of the region. But because of the new playoff rankings, we're not looking at a 1, 2, 3, and 4 seed. We're looking at teams that are probably going to be all 1 and 2 seeds.
I think it's intriguing. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a region to watch. I mean, like I said, all talented. Tattnall County is playing the best, but it's just who's playing the best at the right moment. And I think, like you said, Pierce County has a potential chance to make some noise, and Appleton County's been one of the better teams all year long, regardless of classification.
Well, and when you look at the games that they've played, they're all decided by no more than 1 or 2 goals. They're all these close games that really are just who played better on that day and who had the better shot on goal and who, in some cases, just got luckier.
Good point. Yep, it'll be a lot of obviously fun to watch. Hey, I just want to ask you just a little bit. Obviously I know this is college, but spring game. Just what's your quick thoughts on just Georgia and some of the players? Obviously, KJ looks really good again. Gunnar Stockton, formerly of a Georgia high school. Just what's your thoughts on them, just real quick?
I think when we're looking at Georgia, I think you're looking at a team that's full of Georgia guys. But I feel like if Gunnar Stockton ends up winning the job, which I think at this point he's expected to, you're looking at a team that I feel much closer than they were last year. A team that is maybe not as talented as they were last year, but is better gelled together and maybe a better football team because of that.
What side of the ball do you think has made the biggest jump?
I think when you look at it, the highlights that came out, it wasn't televised, so I didn't get to watch it, but the highlights that came out, the wide receiver core looks much more explosive, they did a much better job of getting open against a really good secondary that probably has another handful of guys that are going to be first-round picks on it.
And then how about the offensive line? That's what Jeremy was saying, the biggest thing he was going to watch. I mean, do you feel like that's obviously a position Georgia's been great at, but this year they won't really skip a beat?
I think they won't skip a beat. When you look at it, they've brought in a bunch of guys that are high potential. Last year's team was mediocre on the offensive line. They lose a lot, but at the same time, when you look at who they're bringing in guys that are high potential guys that are massive, that are really talented. And as long as 2 or 3 of those guys or those recruits hit and they can be developed, I think they'll be fine on the offensive line.
And then if they have Gunnar back there, I mean, how mobile do you think he'll be? We saw him obviously take a huge shot last year when he came in, but he's a guy that can give you those tough yards if he needs to. I think when you look at Gunnar, I think what he needs to do most is just buy time in the backfield, extend plays with his legs, and then when it's needed, as we saw in the SEC championship game, just go for those yards and take that hit. But when it's needed, not just taking bad hits for the sake of taking bad hits, like we saw it at points in his 2 games last year.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. That's going to conclude us for today. For Georgia High School Sports Daily, we have another great episode tomorrow. So tune in, same place, same time, right here on the Peach Sports Network, 12 to 1 p.m. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off. Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
Beginning the morning you opened your eyes, we spent every waking moment preparing you for the day you'd leave our nest. Whether it's driving to practice or helping with homework, it's all prepared you for, what am I going to be when I grow up? Will you be ready?
After much thought, I made my decision to take my talents to the IBEW Local 613.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers is not simply a job, it's a career. Visit IBEW613.org to begin a new future today.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Are you interested in becoming a deputy or a jailer? The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office is hiring and looking for individuals passionate about protecting and serving their community. If you are 18 years or older, join our team by visiting gogcso.com for more information. Gwinnett County, together we can make a difference.